Hi everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Spartan Sports Report on TV3. Joining Sam and I is our old friend Brent Duncan, who is the athletic director of CHS.
Glad to have you back, Frank.
Thank you, Brent. We are always happy to have you join us because sports are underway. The winter program's underway. Girls playing, boys about to play. Sam and you understand, watch the girls in Indianapolis on Saturday night play Ritter. It was a loss, but Sam, your opinion?
Much improved over Thursday night, I thought. Brent, you were there. I thought, they came out ready to play and had 1 point. They were down just 3 and had a good open look at the basket to tie it up. Ended up losing by 20, but didn't shoot as well in the fourth quarter, but really acted like they wanted it. And,
Good.
Played well, played hard. I was impressed with several of the girls. I thought Cheyenne Henry was in really going after the ball, as we saw that on Thursday night also. I thought that they were fighting for the 50-50 balls.
Your opinion, Brent? You were at the game?
Well, I was at the game. I didn't see as much as a home game. I do like to go to the away games because I get to actually see the game. But I thought they played really hard. I know we're still, you hate to say it, we're still pretty young. At one point in time, there were 5 sophomores on the floor.
Yes.
And, that's a learning experience from the time they were just 2 years ago playing in 8th grade, and just speed and size and skill sometimes. But I thought they competed. We still haven't shot the ball real well, so that sometimes makes the score get lopsided really quick when you get good looks and just not knocking them down, and then they're knocking down everything on the other end. So the score can get lopsided, even though you might have played pretty well. If you can't throw it in the bucket,
sure,
it makes a little difference in what the final outcome looks like. But
was there a turning point in the game, Sam, as far as you're concerned?
Well, I guess when we changed quarters at the fourth quarter, I mean, we were right there with them, and once again, like Brent said, we couldn't throw it in, and they were able to build a lead. First half, we were able to get the free throw line. That kept us in the game, and then second half, early, Ritter was able to get the line, and that helped extend their lead some. But we have to remember, this Ritter team's a very good team. They'd lost some players, but the coach's daughter, the Downer girl, probably a Division I player. They're defending 3A regional champions, so they know how to win.
Yes. Thursday night in the opener, first game jitters, I guess, is why we ended up with a 0 at the end of the first period. And I think if the Lady Spartans had hit some baskets in that opening period, it could very well have been a different story.
Well, we lost by 25, but from the end of the first period on, it was a 10-point game. We were down 15-0, and New Pal's a really solid team. If you remember last year, their JV were all freshmen for the most part, and our JV was all freshmen. Now we're both all sophomores, and they were much more aggressive than we were last year. We've made some strides, as you can see when you get on the court, but still haven't got to that constant competitiveness consistently. But I think it's getting there each time we play. So,
TV3 was at the game Thursday night. Let's have a look at the video from that game when New Palestine came to Connersville and met the Lady Spartans at Spartan Bowl.
Yeah, the floor is bright.
Yeah, they had a girl 6'1", a couple of 5'9", so I think that makes a difference.
We don't probably have anyone that's that tall, period, on any of our teams. So.
And that makes it tough, but
we don't have a lot of them walking the hallways at school. We have a couple, but they play volleyball and one plays softball.
But you can see there some shots were dropping.
Yes.
And I liked how the girls, after being held scoreless in that first quarter, did come out and compete and wanted to play. And saw them really, I thought, come around there, especially in that second half. But they're learning. As you said, all the sophomores. We have 2 seniors, a junior, and the rest of them are sophomores. We know that they were young last year as well, but and a lot of those girls played varsity ball, got a lot of minutes as freshmen. So
yes,
I think that Man, that only is going to pay dividends here. Maybe later on this season, but in the next 2 years with these sophomores that Coach Thompson's starting.
As long as they stick it out, and there's some stuff they have to do in the off season, just like every sport team that we have. Continue to work on their skills. It's hard to be a seasonal athlete anymore. You can be a multi-sport athlete, but you still got to do lots of little things for each sport as the year goes along. Basketball, you got to shoot, work on your ball handling, and all those skills that go along with everything else to make you a pretty good ball player.
I think Coach Thompson was happy with the second half of the New Pal game. He seemed to be.
I think he was, and for the most part, up at Ritter, I talked to him after the game, and of course there were some things that he would have liked for them to have done differently, but overall, I think you can't fault the effort, and he saw improvement as Dave and I did too, and we talked about that improvement over just 2 nights before. And really, that's one of the nice things about basketball is that they had 1 day after playing New Pal to prepare, so they got right back at it, and were able to maybe do some of the things that they talked about in practice and to try to correct some of the things that they saw on opening night.
It was, as you pointed out, a pretty wide score, Brent. It was Lady Spartan losing to Now Palestine 61-36, and then Indy Ritter beat them 48-30. We're playing Mount Vernon's high school at Fortville this week.
This coming Friday, it's not going to get any easier. They're always pretty solid. Now, they've lost quite a few in the last couple of years. The Shelton girls now gone. And
they are 0-2. They have lost to Franklin 59. No, they lost to Franklin 47-28, and to Warren Central 62-33. And the oddity is both the Spartans and the Lady Marauders have an offensive average of 30.5 per game.
Wow.
Well, somebody's going to better that.
So, and defensive averages.
I'm looking for the red to come out on top. So
54.5 is the defensive average of Mount Vernon, and the Spartans' average is 58.2.
I think for the most part, as you watch our girls play, and Michael's toyed a little bit with the 2-3 for the most of his career, and he's had some 1-3-1 this year. And I know he was talking to one coach last year and said something about playing some man, and the coach, and I can't remember which team it was, really salty. He goes, I don't know why you'd ever want to change out your 2-3. We can never throw the ball inside against you guys anyway. So I don't know what you want to do. You play it really well. So, I mean, if you go back to Larry Bullington on the boys' side, he basically played a matchup 2-3 zone. You just played man in your area. And I think Michael does a good job of trying to teach those. And that's the one thing. It takes a little bit of time for some of the girls to get the concept of really, even though you're playing a 2-3 zone, you're really playing a lady in your area. So you got to kind of play man to man. As well as I do, going back to the middle school boys and girls both, their concept for sometimes 2-3 is just stand in that spot and put your hands up. So it's a little bit of adjustment to understand how you really have to play a zone. If you're not a really good defensive man-to-man person, you're really not a great zone player either, because you don't understand the whole concept of the scheme. So it takes a little bit of time to get there.
After this weekend's ball game, they meet Centerville on November 18th. And the Lady Indians from Anderson come to Spartan Bowl on Saturday the 19th.
Yeah, it's been odd to be we were supposed to play Guerin Catholic later in the year, but the date that we had set for our contract happens to be a formal snowball dance or whatever that we found, and the principal told their athletic director, you will move your basketball game. So we're actually playing Guerin Catholic on the 16th of November at their place. So we're opening with 4 pretty tough road games right here in a row after our opening night with New Pal. So, and then we'll get Centerville here, and hopefully, Anderson's normally pretty athletic, and they've been solid the last 3 years. So it'll be a good challenge for them. But hopefully, through this season, we'll get better, and the girls will learn how to play. And
be nice to
bode well for a couple
get a
years
couple of wins in there and get some confidence against some of these better teams. And I do like our chances Friday night going up to Mount Vernon. It's always been a tough place to play, but there's been times when we've played well there. But even back in the days when we had ranked teams, we would go in there and be opening night most nights, and we'd come home with a loss. Yeah,
they always have
been physical. But then could reel off a bunch of wins after that. So
Yeah, it just takes that one to get their confidence to say, hey, we can't compete with the people that we're playing with. And
Yes.
for us, currently at the sectional that we're in, we have to see those teams if you want to continue to advance down the tournament. You know, people ask all the time, well, why do we got to play these people? Well, you have to play them sometime, because if you don't play them now, you are going to see them later. And if you don't know how to play those big physical, strong teams, it's going to hurt you when you get to the tournament.
Well, I think every coach wants to play a tough schedule at preparing themselves for postseason. Yeah.
And I think both our boys and girls schedules are pretty solid.
They're very
top to
solid.
bottom.
I think so too. I think so too. The boys are right around the corner. I think today practice
Opening day.
officially began.
Opening tonight, probably starting about 6 o'clock. They
I
ought
think
to be
it's
getting
16
on the
days
floor.
till their first game. So.
Got a
Okay.
scrimmage on the 19th against Knightstown here in the afternoon at our place.
Mm-hmm.
We'll suit it up 4 days after that on the 23rd. So, as you know, that night will be all packed and ready to go.
I heard a coach of one of the conference teams that the Spartans play said the Spartans are the team to beat this year, that with all their starters back, and they gave Southport all they wanted in the regional, and he said by and far Connorsville is the toughest team in the EIAC.
Well, you always hate to say where you're going to be, but I like our chances. You know, Kerry does a good job with our kids, and I think our kids that are playing have bought into the system, and they understand that it's going to be a possession game, and it's going to be wear your nose on defense and bang. So I've always said since I coached that, you know, offense is a variable. It comes and goes, but defense is that constant, and coach teaches defense day after day after day. And if you've ever watched us play, you can hear our shoes squeak, and you can see our kids talking, and it'll be a little different because, you know, last year Ty Billups was the talker. Ty's gone. The three returning players that play a lot with Garrett Silcott and Bo Isaacs and Grant Smith, they're all really pretty quiet. So it'll be interesting to see who might be that person that steps up to take that initiative, being a talker and getting people where they need to go.
Sam, you want that job?
Well, you and I make our living talking, don't we? But not out on the floor, but outside the lines. But I think the Spartans will be pretty good, and they should be. But certainly we will have a bullseye on our back for not only conference, having won conference 2 years in a row, tying 2 years ago for a conference championship, but winning it outright last year. And then with our sectional opponents, that you know, beating Newcastle twice in 1 year, that they're going to be out to get us.
We'll be in their sights.
Yeah, so there'll be a big bullseye on the back of the Spartans.
By far.
But that's great. I mean, we'll take it every year.
That's a great position. That's certainly the position you want to be in.
Well, we want all of our teams to be that target. You know, that's the goal.
Sure.
When you come and play the Spartans, no matter what sport it is, you might beat us, but you want to know that it's going to be a fight to get out of here with a win. And, you know, and we'll walk off the court being good compadres or friends as we leave, but on the court you're just enemies, and we go from there, or the field or the swimming pool or wherever it happens to be. But it's all right to have your target on your back. You know, like Sam said, we've won 13 out of the last 14 in the conference, and East Central's been down a little bit, but you know, they've had quality teams, and South Dearborn's had teams, and Franklin County's had some wars with us, and you know, Batesville's had a lot of good battles with us. So.
And the people coming in, you know, our home games, just the tradition of Spartan Bowl. I think that people in the area understand that. Tough place to play. The Grand Palace, I like to call it. But,
Grand Palace on Grand.
Yeah, but I think kids from other schools probably do like to come there and play, but once again, they want to win, and they'll do whatever they can.
Well, it's always funny when you get to the game because you get there early and you're there when the other team comes in. You know, it's been 2 years since some of them have been there. So some of those JV kids have never been in there, and they walk by the gym. It's like, oh, you know, you just hear them because, you know, their gym's not like that. Or they look at that things like, oh, that's pretty big. You know? So it's kind of neat just to listen to the kids talk as they come down the hall.
I bet it is. I bet it is. Yeah, it's a great place to play, and I know you're happy with the fans turnout.
Oh, yeah. I mean, great season last year. If you need your all-sport ticket, come and see us at the athletic office. But looking forward to, you know, like most people, you had a successful season last year, and I'm hoping that the fans come back and get behind them a little bit earlier and a little quicker, and we start putting a little more seats in the stands up there, a little more bodies up there. But it was great last year. I can't complain about the following on the home, at road, everywhere we go.
We open up with Union County, and they always they always bring a huge crowd, and probably the biggest crowd we have every year with them.
Yeah,
so.
it'll be close. I think Franklin County's crowd was pretty good size last year, but I'll be talking with Ryan, the AD at Union County this week, to kind of set up our arrangements and some pre-sale tickets for them, because he has a hard time keeping any in his office. Whatever I give him, he seems to sell out before we get over there. So, which helps us at the gate. We don't have such a long line, and gives us a little opportunity to get people in a little quicker on that night. So,
Liberty, I think they bring all the residents from Liberty to that game, it seems like.
I would say there's 50% of them at least or better.
And those people still dribble a basketball from...
I think so.
I think they do
they
too.
always
I think
seem to ask me.
tradition.
I see them come in the bowl, you know, as the game is about to begin, it seemed like. And I thought, these people have dribbled a basketball from Liberty along State Road 44. This is...
Some days it's been cold. It's hard to think the last two nights. Last week we had basketball games. It's in 65-degree weather, and I'm thinking we should be running a track meter at a baseball game or something.
Well, people were complaining about the heat in the Spartan Bowl Thursday night.
It's not even turned on yet, so I don't think. If not, it just got turned on right around the 1st of November normally.
What about the other winter sports at CHS?
Well, boys swimming starts today too. Of course, girls swimming started a couple weeks ago, and then wrestling started last week. The only thing that has not started yet is gymnastics. It starts just a little bit later. We had a big event last weekend. The co-ed cheerleading team placed 6th in the state at the state cheer competition at Newcastle, so that's great for them. The Indiana Principals Association sponsors that, so shout out to all the cheerleaders and Coach Mitchell and Coach Mitchell. So they did a great job, and it was kind of odd Saturday night not having them at or Friday night not having them at the ball, Saturday night, whatever night we played.
Saturday night.
Not having them at the ball game. Wasn't any cheerleaders at the ball game, if I remember correctly, on Saturday night. So it's kind of dead at times. So it's always nice to have them there because they give a little atmosphere, you know, on those dead times. And that's good to have those girls along. But congratulations to them, and I'm sure they were all excited. I got my picture on my phone that we'll put on the website here tomorrow when I get back to school. So,
young wrestling team this year, or a lot of veterans?
Kind of a mixture. We don't have a lot of older kids. We had a lot of young kids last year. You know, wrestling's one of those sports you just don't know. I think there's Brady Gosnell's a senior, and I know if I start throwing out names, I'll miss one. There's a Huffman kid that's come out this year that's a senior that's not wrestled before. So we'll still be a little bit on the young side. So we're hoping we can fill all of our weight classes. That's the struggle with wrestling, is having enough people at different levels. You know, those years we were really good and won the regional about 4 years ago. We just happen to have kids that fit every weight class, and some years you don't get that.
Yes.
So, right now we're hoping our heavyweight kid comes back out. Will be a sophomore. He wasn't there the first couple days last week and had to get a physical, so hopefully he'll be back out. And one of our smaller wrestlers wasn't back out for some reason, so we're hoping that just a little misunderstanding on their part of when practice was. But
So if you don't fill all the classes, you have to forfeit?
You have to forfeit that, and a forfeit in a wrestling mat is just like a pin. You get 6 points if you pin somebody. So if you have a forfeit, it's just like you're giving a pin to the other team, so you're down. If you got 3 weight classes, you're down 18-0 already out of the 14 weight classes.
Wow.
So it's always good to fill your spots.
Absolutely. And the holiday tourney is
Packed.
lined up?
It's all packed. All 32 teams are ready.
Man.
I actually got 3 on the wait list. So we actually did a little bit of revamping this year. I had some teams that were wanting in, and I took the average number of wrestlers that the schools have been sending the last 4 years that I've been doing it, and those that were last year, one school only had 2 wrestlers. So it's just getting harder. So I kind of took the bottom 3 that had the smallest amount of teams coming, because it just puts a lot of forfeits in the opening rounds, and people just advance because they don't have anybody to wrestle. And I brought in 3 schools, and I know if I start to rattle them off, I'm going to miss them. East Central is one of them that's coming this year. Southern Wells, which is up north of Marion, is coming. And I know I'm going to miss whoever that 4th new one was. But Centerville is coming back. They've been wrestling in the state wrestling invitational that they have. Knightstown has also been wrestling that the last 2 years, and they actually got invited back again this year because it's based on the number of underclassmen you have coming back. So next year I've got Bedford that wants in, and Seymour wants in, and LaPel wants in. So we may do a little reshuffling of the bottom numbers. They all can fill 14 weight classes. So for me, it's better to have every weight class filled for our kids to come and wrestle than to get a forfeit.
Hopefully we're able to do that then too, and get the rest.
Yeah, you hope.
Yeah.
We always, sometimes we struggle, just depends on the people, but hopefully the goal is to fill all 14 weight classes.
What are the dates?
December 29th and December 30th. So Like wrestling, it's about 860 some matches. You can come out and watch them all. $15 for 2 days worth of wrestling.
Well,
So it's a bargain.
that's a bargain, yeah.
Break that down by match, by dollar, it's a bargain.
That's a tradition. How long has that been going on?
I want to say this is 44 coming. Of course, it didn't start with 32 teams. It started small, but it's kind of grown into 32 teams. It's amazing the number of teams that want to keep coming back. I know we've lost some, but we've added Carmel the last couple of years, and Fishers, and
It's amazing.
we had Brownsburg one year, and they went out. We picked up Fort Wayne Snyder last year. We got Fort Wayne North. Evansville North came a couple years ago. And Corden from the River comes. And
Wrestling
I
capital
thought I
of
had
Indiana.
Warsaw coming, but they had something they were already committed to. But they might come in the future, they said. So you're always looking. So
That's great for the town. I mean,
yeah, it is. It's good. It's a good atmosphere if
Sure.
you enjoy sports and just want to come out and watch some good wrestling. You know,
That's
we
right.
had Cathedral here forever, and they've kind of stepped out the last couple of years, and they've been a powerhouse in wrestling. And Ron Colley comes every year, and they're a powerhouse in wrestling. They're a new coach. Is it Warren? One of their new coaches at Tante that used to coach at the high school. I think he's at Warren Central now. So they've come before, but they're not here this year. So it's a good time.
And during that time, the Spartan basketball will be in action in Richmond.
They will be in Richmond that week, and the girls will be down at the Rumble on the River in Madison. So busy weekend the 29th and the 30th.
Are you involved in those tournaments anyway?
I'm not actually involved. I try to go if I can get there, but
Okay, but
depends on the days we play. You know, the Rumble's a little harder since it's in Madison, and I actually think it's the same 2 days as the Classic. And of course, the wedding's a little bit longer. Sometimes I can pick up at least a game or so in the wedding, just depending on when we play. So if not, somebody will always go over and cover for me. So Mark Beard loves to go watch basketball.
Then Spartans will be playing Louisville Ballard at Chrysler Fieldhouse.
January the 7th. It's the Indiana-Kentucky Challenge Cup, and we're the 4A rep from Indiana. And I can't remember else. Oak Hill's there. I know I'm going to miss it. I want to say Cloverdale, but don't quote me on that one. So it's been a while since I looked back at that. But we are playing Louisville Ballard. And Coach Brown said he's done a little look at them. I think they got a Division I recruit and a couple other smaller division groups. So they've had a tradition of pretty good basketball at Ballard anyway. So
Great opportunity for the Spartans to play somebody that you never would
Yeah.
see otherwise.
I think the last time we did something like that was we used to play in that shootout thing at Hinkle. We played Evansville Bossy that one year, and actually won on the Hinkle floor that afternoon. So
Yes.
it was a great ball game.
Yeah,
so
it was a lot of
hopefully
fun.
we'll have another good showing, and we're the cap of the night. So there's 5 games. There's 1 girls game and 4 boys games. Tickets are $10. You can buy them from me here pretty soon. I don't have them in hand, or you can buy them at the gate for $10.
So $2 a game, basically. huh?
$2 a game, and all the popcorn you got to pay for that.
that's on a Saturday, right?
On Saturday, January 7th, we actually played Greensburg the year before on January 7th, and we've been trying to put Greensburg on Friday, and Greensburg played Shelbyville on Friday, but Shelbyville didn't have anybody on Saturday, so they both agreed to move to Saturday, which by chance put us on Friday with Greensburg, which is great for us for a conference game.
Yeah, you
Just
want
happened to
your
be January
conference
7th was the night they called and say, hey, can you play in this? Well, we're open now, so we sure can.
Good.
Worked out
So
really
it
well.
worked out great.
We're just beginning the winter sports season, but I suppose you're working on spring.
We're pretty set, hopefully. Knock on wood, I did get an email of tournament we're in. We have to get out because they picked up another school in their conference, so they have to drop the tournament they're in because they're going to have a conference tournament. So we might be looking for 1 girls softball game. And sometimes we try to pick up some JV softball games or freshman JV baseball games, depending on how many we got on our schedule and the number of kids we have. But knock on wood, everything's pretty much in place, hopefully.
We're going to have a new softball field.
It's in the work. The concession stand is up under roof. Kids have done a good job from WCC of doing the woodwork, and now Coach Sargent's class is putting the electrical stuff in. And then hopefully this summer or next, whenever the project of redoing what used to be the old JV baseball field into a newer softball field, and then eventually taking the old softball field and turn it a little bit so all the home plates are at the concession stand. So there's talks and things are in the work. It's just a matter of process and getting everything in the right line and done.
Okay, what's a typical day for the athletic director in
It depends.
when school is underway?
I don't know. I get school at 7:30 every morning, so you always have a thought in your mind what you need to get done that day. Then sometimes it just depends on what phone call comes in or what email you get that changes your life. But it's busy. It's hectic. You're always looking on schedules and trying to find officials who want to call and cancel, and then you got to scramble. And sometimes you can't help it because they're last minute, so you got to really, you're on the phone a lot.
Sure.
Working on contracts. Of course, you're always, as an athletic director, trying to tweak your schedule so it fits your needs. Just like they're trying to tweak their schedules to fit their needs. But we do have a conference meeting this Wednesday, and hopefully we're going to revamp baseball a little bit and try to have conference days for baseball starting not this spring, but the following spring. If we play on Monday night, everybody in the conference is playing a conference game on Monday night, and then we're all going to play a conference game on Thursday night. Hopefully that'll get passed through. We've been working on that for a year, so hopefully all the bugs are worked out finally. This is the 5th meeting we've had to talk about it. So, but that'll help our pitchers. You know, they've changed the rules. It's no longer innings; it's pitch count now. So you have to keep track of the number of pitches you count, keep track of them, and report them to the IHSA, and
Really?
keep a log. And used to be 7 innings, you had to sit out 72 hours, or you got 10 innings in a 72-hour period. Now it's if you throw 90-some pitches, you got to sit out 3 days. If you throw 120, you got to sit out 4 days. So, you know, that's something you got to keep track of. And
Why is
talent.
that? Explain. I think I know why,
just
but
wearing out your
explain.
arm. You know,
Okay.
the natural throwing of baseball is not your
Young
natural
kids.
arm movement.
Yeah.
If you're pitching softball, you can throw every game, every day. You can throw both games with a doubleheader because the underhand motion is the normal throwing motion of your arm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Coach Ellis doesn't do that. We've got enough pitchers that we can kind of alternate. But baseball, the throwing over the top is not your normal throw, so it puts a lot of wear and strain on your shoulder and your arm. So, of course, you know how kids are. They all think they want to throw the curveball and they don't want to throw this, and then
Yes.
they're not always developed enough to do that. So
Sure.
just to help prevent a lot of injuries.
Right. Are you the guy that makes a count, or is who's
Well, the coaches
responsibility
don't
is
have to
that?
count, so the question that we have is if I count yours and you count mine, are we going to be the same? Because I'm sure it's going to be held reliable to both of them, at least compare notes. And then our coach has to turn it into me, and I have to chart it
Okay.
at the end of the day
Oh.
each time there's a game. So that's something new that started this year. So we'll see how it goes. You know, those that are honest will be honest, and those that weren't before already, weren't anyway. So, but it's probably good for the kids in the
Well, I
in
think
the long
so.
run of things.
Even in the younger grades, Babe Ruth League, there are restrictions, aren't there?
Yeah, well, I can't tell you what they are, but they have
Right.
limits of what they can do and can't do. So.
Well, it's only.
Don't want anybody hurt.
No,
Absolutely.
at that age, it's not worth
No.
something 5 years
Right.
down the road. So
No. Well, it's interesting, isn't it?
always, there's not a dull day. You know, as one principal told me when I first got a job, and his name was Maury Pride, was the principal at Tell City High School, and he said something about 20 years of experience, and of course I hadn't taught yet. And he said, no, I told that guy he had 1 year experience 20 different times. So that's kind of how it is in the athletic office. It's one day today, but tomorrow's a new day, and you never know what comes down. So it's always interesting because it's not the same 2 days in a row in there ever. So
I'll bet. Well, speaking of the officials, you have a long list that you pick from, or is there a mileage thing considered?
no, I mean you can get them from wherever you want.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, if a guy wants to come,
I wants to
50,
come from
67.
Brownsburg or wherever, they can come. There's a
Okay.
site that the IHSA uses that all the officials have to register on.
Mm-hmm.
They list what sports
Oh,
they're
okay.
qualified for, and of course, through travels and playing, coaches get who they like and who they think are better. So we try to ask the coaches who they would like to have, and then we send out an email to them and say, hey, we got this game open. If your crew's open, then we'll try to get them in. So I got a stack of papers about this thick that the coaches like, so we'll try to get through them. There's more officials than I have games, but hopefully in the next 2 or 3 years we'll get them.
I notice sometimes that they live, like you got a couple from Indianapolis and maybe one from Greenfield, so these guys probably can travel together. And
Yeah, most of them come
Yeah.
together in the same car. So especially in football, you know, you got 5 people coming, and mostly they all come together. Sometimes basketball's a little different, but not greatly.
Brent, thanks for joining us this evening.
I appreciate you having me back.
Brent Duncan, CHS Athletics Director, joins Sam and I here on this edition of the Sports Report, Spartan Sports Report on TV3. Thanks for watching.